Hello everyone. Working on the Mercury 9 here and having a lot of fun with it actually. Mainly because I'm starting on the C-130. Okay? Sorry, I'm trying to open a file and I should have opened it before you guys got there, before I got here. Okay. The C-130, I want it moving down the runway. I thought about having it towed by a tow cart. I've got a tow cart that can tow it with a little trailer bar to hook onto it, but it looked funny. The plane just landed. Why is it being towed? So I decided I'm going a different route. Now, it came with some photo etch props. The problem is the photo etch props just... they're not going to do it if the plane's actually taxiing down the runway. So, I remember talking to one of the YouTube people, Made Modeler. If I can remember, I'll put a link in the bottom of this video. And this is back when I mentioned that I had a B-36, big old model, and one of the props was broken on it. And he said, "Well, use a prop disc." And I said, "What do you mean by a prop disc?" And he pointed me to a website where I could download these guys. Now, I know you guys can't really see them. They're too small right now, so I do one of my famous zoom-ins until it's too big. These guys, what you do is you print them on clear transparency film, or in my case, I'm going to print them on decal film, and then you put them on the plane instead of the propellers, so it looks like the propellers are spinning. Which is great, except for I need to cut out circles. Like that. Alright? And those circles are perfect. I didn't use a hole punch. I was at my big box hobby shop and they were discounting a whole bunch of foam tools. Okay? And I got this. It's a circle cutter. It comes with different size circles. You don't have a lot of choices in the size circles. They're not variable width. It's for cutting foam, but it'll cut styrene as long as the styrene's not too thick, and it cuts it just fine. Only problem is, once these blades are shot, I'm not buying more. Because the styrene is a little harder to cut than the foam core, the foam boards. Okay? But it cuts the styrene like a champ, as you can see right there. And I cut out 6 of them on my clear styrene. Okay? One of them came out on its own. And this one left a mark at the center of the disc, which is fine because there is a propeller hub that goes in the center of the disc. But you can see it's just perfect, and with those little whirly things on it, I think it'll look just fine, especially at this scale. It's not a very big ship. So I just wanted to detail how I'm cutting this out. I'm using a foam board hole maker, hole drill. Okay? To cut my holes with, and it cut them just fine. I'm about to cut that piece off, put it in a baggie until I get my decals printed. I'm going to work on the decals today. I got to get all the graphics ready because I've got decals for the Mercury 9 and the Zinger, which I haven't shown anyone this, but the Zinger's sitting here ready for decals. Okay, she is more than ready for decals. She needs them. She's begging for them. So I'm waiting for that aspect to get done. I'm going to do the decals today. If I can get them done fast enough, then I'm going to work on the C-130 because I got to get moving on this. I've almost got all my holes drilled. I got my format laid out. I know what's going where now. I can start on the electronics tonight when I get home from work. If not tonight, tomorrow for sure. We'll get all the electronics wired up and on this thing. And once that's done, I can paint. Still thinking about building a warehouse right here. We'll see. That's going to be the last thing I do. Because I can paint this and get it set up, then add the warehouse. I'm going to put together all the forklifts and stuff because I've already decided I'm going with an Osprey on the helipad right here. And I'll have that Osprey built today. And I know how to light it, so it's going to have some lights on it. So I have 3 circuits to wire up, 2 4060s and a 555 for strobing. And I'm going to have some strobe lights on the C-130 and the Osprey. So you have little quick flashes along with the red and green position lights. And I may light the cockpit on the Osprey, I may not. It depends on how that thing goes together, because it worries me a little bit. It's clear plastic. Going to have a seam running down the center. It might be hard to light that cockpit up. And if I do light it up, it won't be very brightly lit anyhow. And I'm going to have a spotlight sitting here and pointing at it. So it might be irrelevant. Anyhow, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to get working. I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Oh, I didn't give you the website for the prop disc, did I? Bad me. That's why I went and opened this file. The website is fiddlersgreen.net, www.fiddlersgreen.net. It said Fiddler's Green Fabulous Prop Disc. They probably, if I remember right, they have many, many different sizes of them. Me being who I am, just got one and I resized it in some photo editing software, so I don't have to mess with it. But there you go. I'm going to get busy because I got a lot to do and I only got 2 hours to work on before I have to go to work today. And then an hour when I get home from work. I can't be up all night. So I'll be back in a little while. Alright, you guys have seen it before, but I never actually did a formal review. So I've got the C-130 in front of me. The Hercules in 1/350 scale. I think the scale on it is off a teeny bit. It's not too bad, but I think it's off a little bit. I think the wingspan is just a teeny bit short of what it's supposed to be. Alright? So what I'm going to do is review part of the kit. I don't have the whole kit with me because the wheels and a few other things are locked in the cabinet where little hands and little paws can't get to them. But I do have a lot of it with me. Now first off, here's the instruction sheet that comes with the kit. It's a resin kit made by a small little company. You can't really expect a whole heck of a lot. Alright? Yeah, it's a pretty simple little kit. There aren't that many parts to it. I think it's got like 20 parts total. Okay? Here's the photo etch sheet that comes with it, which I'm not going to use all of the photo etch sheet. Okay? You can see there's the wheel mounts. There's the wheel well flaps. I'm not sure what that is. Those are propellers. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, I'd have to look at the directions for all of it. Alright. Rear wheel. That's what that is. Although I don't know if we've actually got... Oh, front wheel. That's for the front wheel. And that's the flaps for the front wheel. That's for the front wheel and the flaps for the front wheel. I don't know if it actually came with the front wheels. I might have to scratch build those, as I don't remember seeing them. I'll have to go look. Anyhow, the kit itself, let's look at the main fuselage. Like all resin kits, you have some warping to deal with occasionally, especially thin little resin like this. The front of the plane is the most detailed. You can see the cockpit is there. The underbelly of the plane. It's missing the cargo bay doors in the back. The flaps are detailed fairly well though. And I'm not going to add the cargo bay doors, I don't think. Though, yeah, it didn't come with them. I'm not going to add them. Okay. Here's the main wing. You can see there are some flaps on it. Alright. And the rear vertical stabilizer. I've already straightened up the main wing. The rear vertical stabilizer. You can see there are some details there. This is a tiny kit and I didn't expect a whole lot of details on it, and I wasn't disappointed. Okay? Should go together fairly quickly. The wing doesn't quite fit on there, so I'll have to sand that, and I need to go straighten up this rear stabilizer before I do anything anyhow. So some hot water. I've used a heat gun on that before. Not on this. It's too small, thin, and fragile. Heat gun will probably just light her right up and she'll burn. When it's done straightening that up, I'm going to go ahead and glue the main wing on her. Okay. Once the main wing is glued on, I'm going to drill my holes for lighting. Actually, I'm going to drill my holes for lighting before I put the main wing on. I just realized why. Anyhow, I'm going to put my lights on. What I'm going to do is, ooh, let's hope that didn't break it. I doubt it did. That was a big solid piece. Nah, she's not broken. Basically what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to drill holes through the bottom of the body. Drill a corresponding hole through here. Okay? For fiber optics to come up. 3 fibers. Only 3. Okay? And before you purists out there get after me, I know what the lighting like is on a C-130. I looked it up. I'm not going to try to duplicate it. Okay? This thing is far too small to have all the lights on a C-130. So I'm going to have a hole coming up through here. On the underside of the ring, I'm going to run a piece of fiber on each side. I'm not going to embed it in the wing. This thing's too small. It's sitting too close to the ground. You're never going to see it anyhow. Okay? The fiber's just going to go straight to the wingtip and stop on each one. I'm going to have one fiber coming out the top of the wingtip. That fiber is for the strobe. And yes, I know there's a light in the top of this tail boom. There's no way I'm going to try to drill a hole all the way through there up to the top in this thin, tiny resin. Now, if I was building like a 1/110 scale or 1/75 scale, oh yeah, I'd do it. 1/72, sorry. Or 1/110, 1/44. Because that plane in those scales is going to be big. And you can do it. This thing's too tiny. So I'm just going to put the marker lights where I'd see them on an airliner. Okay? Same thing with Osprey. I'm not going to go crazy with the marker lights on it. So I'm going to go get that rear stabilizer done. And we're going to get this to fit. And then I'm going to get my fiber out and run the fiber along the bottom of the wings with some glue. Okay? And embed the fibers through the body of the plane. I don't know how long I'm going to run those fibers. Probably not very long because the position lights are pretty steady. The strobe light's going to have a long fiber because I'm only going to build one strobe, and it's got to go all the way across the diorama. So the strobe fiber's got to be at least that long. So I'm going to get at it. I've got her pretty much worked out. I don't think she'll take that long to do. I'll be back later. Alright, I'm working on the C-130. And again, I'm not going to do a whole lot of lighting on it. Sorry I'm not on camera. I just rode a bike 5 miles and then ran a mile in 102 degree temperatures. So you're just going to see the hands for right now. Okay, you can see black fibers coming out of it. Again, I paint the fibers black because they will bleed light between each other. And I want a strobe on top of the plane that strobes on and off. I don't want it. Hi. BB's got to come in. Put your hands up here, BB. See? BB's here. BB hand. Okay? But what I was saying is I don't want light bleeding between the fibers. So I spray paint them black. Okay? If you look at some other lighting projects, you'll see that. Okay, BB's getting her head in the video. Alright, BB. Let me finish, okay? Now, what I did is I cut a channel. I don't want to pull it too much because it'll unthread. I cut a channel in the bottom of the plane, and then I cut. I didn't want that to happen, and it did. Then I cut channels on the side so the fibers can come out the side. The fibers run exactly down this line on the other side of the wings. This thing sits so low to the ground that you will never see that, so I'm not too worried about it. And I had to sand this to fit, and everything fits perfectly. I've test fit it like 4 times, and again, everything fits beautifully together. So I'm going to get some epoxy, and yes, I'm using epoxy. The reason for that is if I try to glue it with super glue, it'll eat the fibers. You got to use epoxy or PVA glue on fiber optics. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got my aluminum foil. And I have my 2-part epoxy. And I'm going to get going on it. Next time I make a video, I'm going to let BB in a little bit better. She likes to be on the videos. Sorry about that right now. Just start the whole segment over. Hello everyone. I'm working on the C-130. I got the epoxy out because I'm about to glue the wing on. And I'm going to glue the vertical stabilizer on. Actually, I can glue a vertical stabilizer with super glue, and I think I'll do so. Because it's such a tiny little part to try to glue with epoxy. I don't want a big seam mess. But this has got to be epoxy because of the fiber optics. I can't have the fiber optics. I can't have super glue touch the fiber optics. It'll just eat them. Okay? Now let's talk about what I've done. I don't want to move this too much because I got the fibers to the lengths I want. I've rolled a hole all the way through the body of the C-130. Cut channels on the sides for the fibers to lay down the sides of the wings. I'll show you that after I glue it together. And one fiber comes out the top of the plane. That's going to provide all my lighting. So I'm going to mix up some epoxy, glue it together, and I'll show you the end result in a minute. I came walking down the stairs earlier and saw Thunder all freaked out. He's trying to get something through the window. This guy right here. Tree frog. Pretty good sized tree frog too, as you can see. Oh yeah, he's big. Okay. One of the bigger tree frogs I've seen in a long time. Well, we're going to leave the guy in peace. He's here, sitting here, trying to get bugs that come to the window. I'm going to let him eat. Just thought I would show what Thunder's all freaked out about.